Well, hello. Here we are at last. Well, I'm ready. Are you? Okay. I'm going to assume you said yes. I'm going to go get Abraham, okay? All right, here I go. We're here and eager to have an opportunity to visit with you. It is good to come together in this way, and it really is co-creating at its best. We appreciated and enjoyed. Those two things go together, don't they? Very much. The questions and comments that you have sent in for this broadcast. And so we have a mix of them, some videos where you can express yourselves directly, and some where we will read what you've written to us. We're wanting to begin by acknowledging that this will be a particularly good day for those of you who are wanting to understand and fine-tune your point of attraction. And nothing could be of greater value to you, because you are offering a vibration in every waking moment. And the vibration that you are offering is setting up a trend, a momentum, a direction, and intensity. In other words, the mix of your thoughts, which is indicated to you by the way you feel, matters above all else, because it is the reason for every emotion, it's the reason for everything you feel, and it's the reason for everything that comes to you, everything that occurs to you, everything you ponder or wonder about, everything that becomes more and manifests. It's the reason for every encounter with every particle of the universe. It's what you are doing about you. And so it's worth spending some time together on that. So we're eager to get started. 2 hours moves quickly, doesn't it, when you're focused upon your own personal expansion and evolution. So let's begin with a video.
Hi, Abraham. Thank you for existing and for helping us all on our path in our evolution. Being here, it feels so good to be a creator in this reality, and I've created a really beautiful job or career in this business, but there's just this part with the money that I still haven't. It's still like it hasn't clicked yet. And I feel like I kind of do this like up and down thing where it is prosperous sometimes, other times I am just like, ugh, why am I doing this still? If you have any suggestion on how to follow through with the abundance and the flow of abundance and the flow of allowing, I would love that. And thank you.
It's not so much about following through, although we know what you mean about inspired action. It's really more about no longer doing so much of that thing you do that messes with your positive attraction as it becomes part of your negative attraction. In other words, you use the words up and down, up and down. Sometimes people think back and forth. They talk about a tug of war. So you said some very positive things, and we know you often feel that way about prosperity. But the up and down is because you are up and down or back and forth in your thoughts. So what you want to do is do your best to do a little less than that. Now, we have this inactive box here. We're going to play with it with you today. And as we begin, notice Esther made a big sign for herself. This is her inactive box. It's big. She liked it big. And she originally chose it because it had a slot in the front of it. Since then, she's put one in the top. There's one in the back. There's a slot to put things in this inactive box all around the thing. We want you to, brilliant beings that you are, we want you to fine-tune with us just for a moment. We're going to be brief about this because we have a lot we want to talk with you about what you are asking about. Feel the subtle but important difference between deactivating something and it being inactive. During the last broadcast, we used those words seemingly interchangeably, talked about the deactive box or deactivation. But we're calling it the inactive box. And we want you to feel how when you're in the mode of deactivating something, you are putting emphasis on something that you're wanting to be inactive. You may recall, you may have never heard us say this before. We're going to say it to you now. As we talked about the creation box, it's one of the processes in the Ask and It Is Given book, one of the 22 processes. We encouraged you to get some form of a box and to write on the box what's in this box is. We wanted this box, the creation box, to mimic or represent your vortex, which has all kinds of things that are still in the vibrational state or the vibrational version, but they still are present tense. So what's in this box is creation box. We're talking about the creation box. Now, play with this for a little bit, and let's think about the inactive box. This is the box where you are exploring the process of clearing your vibrational clutter for clarity. Have you heard us say, if you've been listening to us for a while, you've undoubtedly heard us say the phrase pure positive energy or pure desire? Pure meaning not contradicted. Pure meaning no resistance in it. Pure meaning any resistance that you may have had or that may even be logical to have is inactive in a time of pure desire. You may have heard us say, if you have a desire and you're not contradicting it, then that desire is. A pure desire is. A desire that you are clarifying or purifying or inactivating or deactivating any resistance is in the process of being clarified or purified. You getting the sense of this? So on one end of the stick is wanted, what's in your creation box. And on the other end of the stick are the thoughts that you sometimes think or beliefs that you may still hold that contradict your desire. So as we play a little bit today, you'll get the hang of this. And if there were ever a broadcast that we encourage you to watch multiple times, it would be this one. This is a broadcast where you are going to learn how to deliberately create your own reality by some powerful but simple understandings and approaches and follow-throughs that will serve you really well. So, if we were standing in your physical shoes, dear one who we just listened to, we would take one of the cards. Esther just has blank business cards. She bought them from Amazon in a sheet and just, they were perforated and she just tore them up. So we would, if we were feeling like you're feeling, wanting money, but aware that you're up and down about it, we would write and drop into our inactive box. Doubt about money. I would like that to be inactive. My doubt about money, I hereby intend to deactivate. I'm going to call it inactive. Seems simple. But let's say now you are having a thought about doing something, going somewhere, something that you're going to spend money on, and that active vibration that is hindering you pops up again. And you feel some disappointment that you can't just spend the money this way. We would take another card and we would write what we're feeling. And notice the emotional kind of words that we're offering because they're more general. We wouldn't get too specific about what we are wanting to deactivate, because if you get too specific rather than deactivating it, you may activate it a little more than you mean to. So feel the soft and gentle approach. But let's say you feel a little disappointed because you can't afford something right now. We would write, understanding that you intend to deactivate it, disappointment about current ability to buy. I'd like that to be inactive. And as you move through your day, now that you've made the decision to be deliberate and to purify your own desire, you're not ever going to get rid of your desire. You're just purifying it, clarifying it. It's going to come up. It may come up many, many times. And when you can, drop it in. Let's see another.
Hi, Abraham. So I would like to know how I can stop emotions of past trauma and regret coming back into my mind. So as a child, I suffered emotional abuse, but I also grew up in a conservative family. So I was in the closet for 33 years. Coming out as a more middle-aged, slightly older man, resulted in a disastrous divorce, terrible financial settlement, really difficult child custody. So I know that I ignored the source voice in me, which I now know was always there. I love my life now and I'm satisfied with so many things, so many manifestations, but I just have such regret over not coming out earlier. Could I have had more money, more authentic experiences, more enjoyment my whole life? I know that just by talking about it, I'm keeping it alive, but it keeps coming back. And I think, what if I did things different?
All right. Now you're getting the hang of it already, aren't you? But so if we were standing in your physical shoes and feeling some of what you're feeling, these are some of the things that we would write. I'm with the intention of deactivating or making them inactive or rendering them inactive, rendering them not a factor in your vibrational point of attraction. All right. I'm going to put in the inactive box, regret about what I didn't know. Let's see. I intend to render inactive thoughts of having been misunderstood. I intend to render inactive memories of hard times. Things like that. When it comes up, write a card or two. And as often as you are aware that there is something active within you that is uncomfortable, if you'll take that moment to softly and gently identify it generally, and then hold the intention of beginning the trend of deactivating it and rendering it inactive, you're going to like what you see. All right. Gradually, eventually. We'll read one. 2 broadcasts ago, you mentioned the subtle but not so insignificant difference between your inner being, who would be calling remedies to heal an illness, as opposed to an inner being who would be calling resources or cooperative components to our well-beingness. Now, we especially like this because it's what we're talking about. The difference between healing something. In other words, if you say, I want to put well-being in my creation box, that's a rather pure statement. But if you say, I want to heal myself of this illness, that's activating something, and dropping the healing of an illness in the creation box is a misunderstanding of how the law of attraction works. So we're glad you brought this up. In this instance, we would write with the intention of rendering inactive concern for physical well-being. Did you get that subtle difference? You're rendering inactive your concern, which means you're rendering inactive your trending attention to a problem. Concern for physical well-being, inactive. Let's see another.
Hey, Abraham. Thank you for befriending me in the way that you have. I've realized that I'm very good at daydreaming. I always have. And the funny thing is that I never actually quite liked daydreaming because I always felt like, what's the point? Funnily enough, my life has brought me to the dreams that I've used to have. And I'm an actress, and a really good one. I love what I do. And but I've been realizing that sometimes I just think of something for a second and it comes my way in the form of an audition that I have, and everything feels like it goes that way, but last minute it goes 1 month, 2 months, and 3 months, and I hear nothing. And it has been a pattern. I know that it's not how my life is meant to be.
We really liked everything that you said. It is so rich with information for you and for everyone else. So we want to emphasize some things you said, the vibrational accuracy of some things you said. You said, I'm really, really good. We know you are at being an actor. We know that. You said, sometimes I think a thought just for a second and it comes to fruition. Well, that's a pure thought. In other words, the audition came easily because you don't have beliefs or contradictory thoughts that are active within you that hold the auditions away. And then you said, but then once you get the audition, then sometimes 1 or 2 or 3 months goes by and nothing comes from it, and think about why. That's because you've been trending. That's because that's been your experience. You used the word, that's the pattern that's been going on with me. So now think about the importance of this process. This is a soft and gentle process whereby little by little You just render troublesome, habitual patterns of thought inactive. So, for example, here we would write with an intent to deactivate or with an intent to render inactive. Concern about timing. Leaving that to the universe. Now, there are all kinds of things that you could use to shore up the other end of this stick, and you do that well. You said so much of that just in that short presentation to us. This is a process slightly different from that. This is not where we're asking you to amplify what you do want. That desire is powerfully pulsating in your vortex, in your creation box, with the gentle and certain tutelage of your inner being. This process is the process whereby you get out of the way. Let's see, what else might you write? Worry about patterns. Inactive. Memory of stalling out. Inactive. You'll see more as we're moving forward. All right, we'll read one here. Abraham, in the past, I would intentionally lower my vibration so that I could match with people in need in order to help them. I would do this all the time because I thought it was the right thing to do. My question is, did that do any good at all? Was it worth harming myself so that I could bring short-term goodness to people in bad situations? Was that a wasted sacrifice? Well, nothing is ever wasted. For sure, it was a clarifying process to you. But there's a flawed premise in something that you've written here that we would like to help clarify. You said, all the time, I would intentionally lower my vibration so that I could match with people in need. And we want to say to you that if you're doing it deliberately, like we are here, where we are deliberately rendering something inactive, even though we're focused upon unwanted, we are focusing upon a way of releasing unwanted. If you were really doing that all the time deliberately, you would have seen a lot of positive results from your work. But really what was happening more often than not was you were tripping over it because it was active within you. You were seeing troubles with others and you're wanting to help them get over it. And so you were sort of involving yourself before you were really solid in your vibration, in which case you may very well then lose your connection, which is why you called it sacrifice. Sacrifice only ever comes up as a issue when you are on the lower half of the emotional scale, depriving yourself of the clarity of your inner being. Your inner being can have what we are calling compassion for all kinds of people in need without losing inner being's connection to well-being. And you can do it too. So for you, what we would write for the inactive box is concern of losing my place when helping others. Inactive. Misunderstanding of what I'm actually feeling. Inactive. Worry for others. Inactive. Sticking my nose in when I'm not solid. Inactive. Let's see another.
Thank you for this opportunity. I have my question written down. I'm curious on how the universe and our minds work. Why does it seem when I tell myself or speak about not wanting to do something, it ends up happening, and vice versa? When I say I should start this or lock in with my passion, it seems I get in my own way. How can I align with my higher self? The person who is aligned with his goals and affirmations, the person who isn't arguing with his girl or anyone, not allowing anything or anyone to just get me mad because I'm not where I know I should be. How can I take the blessings I received and prosper to align with those divine blessings without the forced action? Thank you. I appreciate your help and your blessings.
You did a good job of answering your own questions as you went along, but we want to highlight some of what you were saying there. First thing, if we were standing in your physical shoes, that we would write and enter into the inactive box is self-criticism of my behavior. Inactive. Knee-jerk response to others. Inactive. Making stuff up or a big deal of things to argue about. You may feel a little release as we're writing on your behalf. Being in my own way. Inactive. Belief that I'm in my own way. One of the things that you said that we really want to call your attention to that is so brilliant is that as you put these things in the inactive box, this is how you're getting out of your own way. This is the premier process for getting out of your way. Because the only thing that's in your way is resistance. And when you're offering resistance, you don't feel good. And when you don't feel good and you're aware of it, and then you decide, I'd like to let go of this thing right here, right now that doesn't feel good. Like being mad at me. Enough of that. Inactive. All right. We'll read one now. I know I want to change careers, and I know I want to be in creating videos on YouTube, but for some reason I can't figure out what direction I should go. I'm not sure if it's fear of failing or fear of not being able to make a comfortable living. Can you help me find ways to figure out how to trust in the universe and unbreak whatever it is that's stopping me? Now, hear these poignant words, but now soften them in the attitude of this process. In other words, we're not unbreaking something because nothing's broken, just clarifying. Figure out how to trust in the universe. What's on the other end of that stick? Doubting the universe. So let's just ramble a little bit. I'd like to render inactive my mistrust or my doubt that the universe is on my side. I'd like that to be inactive. Don't know what direction I should go. So I'd like to I would like to inactivate confusion. I would like to inactivate deliberately focusing on confusion. I'd like to deactivate that. See what we're getting at? Let's see another.
Hi, Esther. Hi, Abraham. I just want to thank you so much for the inactive box process. It's been huge. I had no idea how quickly, so I would start thinking about something that I would want to do, and how quickly my other thoughts would pop up almost immediately to counter the positive thought I was thinking. So it's been a really powerful process. And I can feel positive momentum gaining, and I'm really excited to continue with this process and see where it leads. And I just wanted to say thank you so much.
We wanted to show this video because every word that you spoke was vibrationally accurate. We especially liked your emphasis upon the things that are countering desire. In other words, you're understanding the both ends of the stick, and you are feeling immediate releasing of resistance, and trending is now being allowed more toward what you are wanting. And that's another emphasis that you are reminding us that we want to make here. If you're not doing that thing you do, you're trending toward what you want. If you're not doing that thing you do that you're tripping over, that gets in the way, that is accompanied by negative emotion, then you've got pure desire. And when you have a desire and a belief that matches it, it's coming about, and it's coming about quick. So keep having fun with all of this. Let's see another.
Hi, Abraham. So I went back this past week and listened to the first few broadcasts from this whole pandemic series. And your message was so loving and comforting. And I thank you so much, because I realized you set the tone for what this whole almost 2 years has been: more expansion and growth and more joy. In the third or fourth of the series, you talked about putting less emphasis or focus on the questions we don't have answers for, and putting more focus or more emphasis on the questions we do have answers for. And I thought that was interesting in light of this deactivation box and creation box. I realized a lot of the stuff I'm throwing in that deactivation box are about questions I don't have answers for. And I was wondering if you would be interested in commenting more about that. Thank you.
We really are, because you've pinpointed something really important. And that is, isn't it interesting when there's something that's bothering you and you don't know how to solve it? You don't know what to do or which way to go or how to fix it or whatever. And yet you give it more airtime in your misguided, misunderstood effort or attempt at getting to the bottom of it and fixing it, when you've been listening to us long enough to know that we say there is no bottom. So feel the soft difference, and we know you already are, of this process of rendering things inactive, not figuring them out, releasing the concern about what you don't know. We're going to write that down. Concern of unknown. Inactive. Concern of what's coming. Inactive. And isn't on the other end of that, in other words, if you really could deactivate those concerns, wouldn't you be in a place of true or pure trust? And isn't that the receptive mode? It is. It is. We'll read one. Abraham, I feel guilt. I blame myself a lot for ruining my last relationship, which I believe would have been the path to the happy life that both he and I wanted. How do I overcome my guilt and shame? Well, you know what we're going to say. So you're moving through your day and you're feeling lonely. So you write, I'm going to deactivate loneliness. I'm going to deactivate self-pity. I'm going to deactivate blaming myself. We want you to have fun with this. Make it about the box and make it about the cards and make it about awareness of what you're feeling. And then do something about what you're feeling. Not solving the problem, not understanding everything, just do something in the moment about changing the focus enough that it slows the trending that would continue if you didn't drop the card in. This is you changing the direction of trending gradually. Let's see another.
Hi, Abraham. Thank you so much for your broadcasts. My mom and I do them together every single week, and it's just the best thing ever. I'm an actor, and I'm getting really good at attracting these auditions that are so exciting, and I'm getting really good at having fun with the audition process, which is amazing. My question is, how do I stay in alignment after I send off an audition? Because I've brought this opportunity to me that feels so perfect, and I'm having fun with the work, and then I send it off and I start to get worried and I start to doubt that I'm going to book the role, which obviously I don't book the role if I'm thinking that way. And I want to know what the best way to go about that time in between is, because I know that that's what's tripping me up. And I feel like I'm really ready to hear what I can be doing during that time. So thank you so much.
Well, again, part of this process of getting the interview or the opportunity to show your talents, that part feels easy to you because your current experience is that you're getting plenty of that. The other part doesn't feel as easy because you're not getting plenty of it or as much of it as you want. So what you're saying to us, we had it in a few videos back, what you're saying to us is, what is dominating the way you feel. So the whole purpose of the inactive box is to render what is inactive. In other words, if you're standing in a place that is not as you want it to be, then isn't it logical that you have to deactivate your awareness of what is, because your awareness of what is will keep perpetuating it? You see, most people, they observe this and they feel good. That's good. They observe this and they feel bad. That's not so good. But they don't know what to do. But you do. You all are understanding what to do. You want to emphasize the things that feel good and de-emphasize the things that don't feel so good. So that's what this process is. So we would write in an attitude of rendering inactive, because it's not helpful. Make inactive. Stop the trend of. Softly inactivate. Doubt of receiving role. Now, on the other end of that stick is trusting that the universe is bringing me exactly what I want. That's on the other end of that stick. But talking about what you want when there's resistance active just causes a tug of war that so many of you described as you wrote into us this week. So you're not wanting to activate something that aggravates. You're wanting to de-aggravate as you deactivate these troublesome things. So, going to release doubt of receiving the role. Sticking my nose in when inner being has it. My inner being's got this, so I'm going to deactivate getting in the way. I'm going to deactivate sticking my nose in, which means I'm going to deactivate worry. Oh, let's make it stronger. Unnecessary worry. All worry is unnecessary. Oh, let's make it stronger. Misunderstood worry. Because you all thought there was value in worrying, in fussing and worrying and poking around. There isn't. Let's deactivate that stuff. I'm deactivating or rendering inactive my misunderstood, misguided, ineffective, unhelpful worry. There you go. Let's see another.
Hi, Abraham. Thanks so much for taking my question. So I've been going through a huge period of growth and expansion lately in my business and my life. I feel so exhilarated and inspired a lot of the time, and things are moving really rapidly. I'm making more money than ever before and experiencing more success. But what's happened is my body isn't quite up to speed, and I'm experiencing a lot of physical symptoms. I'm getting stomach aches, headaches, body pains, and it's been really impacting me because I'll be going along feeling really inspired, and then I get a stomach ache or a headache, and it's challenging because it kind of derails me. And so I'm wondering if you have any suggestions for helping me navigate this and helping my body to get up to speed with the rest of me. I'd like to feel better. Thank you.
All right. You're wanting to render inactive belief in lots of unpleasant action. Concern that body can't keep up with desires. There's some things that we can feel that you may not be feeling, and so we're going to write them as if you were feeling them and recognizing them. And as we do this, you'll feel them. I'm going to render inactive my covering up emotions. Allowing resistance to show up bigger. In other words, lots of positive words from you, and you are a very positive woman. We can feel all of that. But you've got some things going on, and you're using words and actions to try to compensate or cover up some vibrations of resistance that you want to be aware of and catch in the earlier subtle stages. So like let's say that you have a big agenda for a day, but you just don't feel like doing it. But you're going to drive yourself anyway. You're going to force yourself to do it, even though you really don't feel like doing it. So if you catch yourself in one of those moments, we would write, I'm going to deactivate unnecessary roughness on myself. I'm going to deactivate guilt regarding taking a break. See what we're getting at? Let's see another.
Hello, I'd really like some advice on how I can stop wanting something that I desire really badly. So I've been trying to conceive a baby for a really long time, and every month that it doesn't happen, it just makes me want it even more, which I'm sure is causing some resistance. So I'd really appreciate any advice you have on how I can want it a little bit less.
Well, your question, you're asking for something that we would not encourage, because you're not going to stop wanting that. A desire is a desire. It's in your vortex. The releasing of desire is not the answer, although we understand why you would think that, because before you wanted it, you weren't unhappy. It's like I wasn't unhappy until I wanted something that I can't seem to accomplish. But giving up desire is not what you're reaching for. It's releasing the resistance to that. And so each month you say you feel disappointed. And so disappointment is what you want to release. You want to render inactive disappointment regarding pregnancy. You want to release taking score. Now, on the other end of that is you want to trust, but the part that you can do something about right now, the part that's in your way, this is in my way. I can feel that it's in my way. I'm so disappointed that I think I want to give up my desire. No. You're not wanting to give up your desire. I must, I will, I am rendering concern inactive. So many people wanting to get pregnant, can't get pregnant, can't get pregnant, can't get pregnant, can't get pregnant, because they're focused upon the disappointment of no baby, the disappointment of no baby, the disappointment of no baby. Let's write that down. I'm going to release the resistance of the disappointment of timing of my baby. And then sometimes they give up on the idea of conceiving their own. They adopt some lovely little creature and fall in love with the presence of the baby. So the now reality renders the absence inactive. So what we're asking all of you, do you have the ability to render the stuff that's in your way inactive without needing to manifest it first? Oh, it's important to say yes to that, because if you need reality to change before you can feel better, you're in a cycle that doesn't let what you want in. You have to be able to adjust your point of attraction pre-manifestational. That's what this is all about. Here's another. This is my very favorite planet. I love it so much here. Please tell me the best way that the planet would want me to live on it. Happily. Happily. That's on that end of the stick. So what is it you want to render inactive? Doubt of living happily ever after. Inactive. Now, some of you are starting to pick a little fight with us in your mind, because this seems all too simple. But it works. It's the awareness that in this moment I'm catching myself in the act of resistance, and then making a decision to slow that resistance down through this action, through this focus, through this writing on a card, through this dropping in a box, through this focus, through this shifting of a trend. Good. Let's see another.
Hi, Abraham. This is actually my first time live in your workshops. I've been listening to your books for ages, and I just love that you are here. This year, I've decided I'm going to go all in on doing the choosing my vibration deliberately, like my absolute main focus for the year. And yeah, energy and vibrations and just, really all the work that you've been talking about. I'm actually going to go in all in and actually do it this year. And I was just wondering what you're what you would, I guess, what advice you'd give or what you'd say for being being able to, I guess, stick with it through the year and just kind of always remembering that like this is the work, and this is the most important thing, and just as times I've tried to do this before, I feel like I've like slipped off halfway and I kind of get distracted. So a little bit of advice on that.
Well, you could not have picked better timing of jumping in with us than this broadcast, because everything that you're asking about is what we are talking about here. And you offered the key word choosing. Choosing. That's what this is. Choosing. In the moment of realizing that I've chosen by default because I don't feel good. I'm choosing the resistant thought rather than the allowing thought. And I'm aware of the negative emotion. So I'm aware of what I chose without thinking. And now I'm choosing deliberately by releasing. So from what you said there, this is what, if we were standing in your physical shoes, we would release. Self-criticism. I'm going to deactivate beating up on myself. And in doing so, you'll allow the good ideas that flow, a lot of them flow, to flow unhindered. Yeah? We'll read another. My 23-year-old son shared with us at Christmas that he is choosing to be a she. I believe a lot of thought and consideration has gone into the decision, but still I'm struggling with it. I feel a loss and a tremendous bout of fear of the future. Now we chose this one because to most listening in, and certainly to you who has submitted this feels big. But we want you to understand, it doesn't matter what the subject is. The process of releasing resistance is still the same, simple. Being aware, not liking the way I feel, and then choosing to release a little, if I can, discomfort. So here we would write, remember what your intention is, to deactivate or render something inactive. Concern about child's decision. Just want to release that concern. You use the word fear. Fear of the future. Fear of future. Fear of future. I want to release or render inactive fear of future. Which means I want to trust that it's going to turn out all right. But that's not what's really going on right now. Right now, as I'm thinking about this, I feel fear, or I feel a tremendous amount of fear, or I feel a loss. Fear of loss. Let's see another.
Okay, I need your help with something, see if I'm on the right track. In processing emotions, you have two types of deals that I'm asking you right now. And I know they're all the same but different. And this is what I mean. You have processing emotions where it's like in real time, in the moment, you're able to identify how you feel, do something about it, and then feel better. So good for you. But this is something where it keeps coming up. And it's like you don't really know exactly why. But it's, it just keeps coming. You're like, man, why is this? I don't want to feel this way anymore, so on and so forth. So it's like, feels like it's a deeper type of deal. And in this situation, it's because there's something there for you to see in a way through the eyes of source. Like there's something there that you don't need to unwind it. You don't need to uncover it, but you need to make a choice, a decision that you're going to look at it through the eyes of source. And when you would do that, when you really get it, that's when everything will.
What you're misunderstanding is this. You said something brilliant. You said something that we've been saying all day. You said recognizing how you feel and in real time doing something about it. And that is the work. You said, okay, good for you. Well, we say, okay, good for you, and that is good enough. Good for you, and that is good enough. That is the process. But then you went on to explain that it seems like that there are other things that are bigger than that. And if that is the case, and we're not questioning that it isn't, we agree with you, it is often the case for everyone. That only means that you haven't yet dealt with it in real time. In other words, it's the soft, repetitive, gentle releasing of the vibration that you're keeping active. If you were doing in real time what you said in your first proposal, then the second part of it wouldn't come up. But it's all right that the second part of it keeps coming up, because some things you've been trending longer about. Some things you have to write a few more cards about. It really is that simple. You need this is Esther's box, and her cards are nearly, not half deep, nearly 25% deep in her box. She's laughing at how many cards she's dropped in her box. And sometimes it's the same subject, but coming at it from a different angle, from a different angle, from this angle, from this angle, from this angle. And each time she drops it in, it becomes a little lighter and more fun. The box is starting to feel like it has true power. This inactive box, these things that have been in my way are becoming less and less I love this box. Less in my way, less in my box, less in my way. This clearing clutter for clarity box, this clearing vibrational clutter for clarity. You see what we're getting at? Your inner being is calling you toward what you want, but not as a test, or not to help you get rid of what's in the way. Your inner being isn't saying, well, that's in the way, so we need to drag him through what's in the way till he finally gets it out of the way. That's not the intention or the motivation or the inspiration that your inner being is offering. Your inner being is simply, consistently, eternally, never-endedly calling you toward what you want. It's you aware that there's something in the way that's keeping you from it, and little by little, you will render whatever it is that's in the way inactive, and then it won't be in the way. Let's see another.
Hello, Abraham. Hello, Esther. Thanks a lot for answering my question. I would like to talk to you about something that happens to me. It's been happening to me for quite some time, which is the tug of war inside of me between allowing and resisting. And I think that in a way, I let things come into my life. I allow things a little bit more than I resist them, because my life is still moving forward pretty much in all areas of my life. So I think that the allowing part is ahead, but still I have too much resistance that I want to let go of. For example, most of the time I don't understand what I'm doing in this body or on this planet, and I want to go home. Like, I feel like I want to go home. What can you tell me? I don't know, to ground myself. Thank you very much.
Well, we don't know what people mean when they say grounded. We don't want you to ground yourself. We want to let yourself fly. We want to say some things to you. And those of you who are watching this, who can see energy, did you see the light around that girl? In other words, you are not someone who is wanting to leave this planet. But what you are is someone so sensitive to energy that just a little bit of resistance feels uncomfortable enough to you that you are thinking that you could do without the resistance. But friend, you're really not wanting to do without the resistance. You're wanting to manage it. You're wanting to deliberately release it. You understand that the contrast is the stuff that worlds are made of. It's what launches the rockets of desires. It's where your choices come from. Without contrast / resistance, there wouldn't be any motion forward at all. You're just wanting to better manage moments when you're not letting the energy flow. We agree with you. You are much more allowing than you are resistant. Esther too. Esther too. But that doesn't mean that she's absent of any resistance. And that doesn't mean that there's not plenty of fun to be had in the releasing of resistance. We think this is a really good time for a segment of refreshment.